There was a really viral video the other day on TikTok from a lawyer. Actually, I think she's a law professor who said, stop telling people to call their representatives. And I want to talk about that for a second because I keep seeing more and more people saying it's pointless to call your reps. Now, this person was speaking from her expertise about the fact that the American government is essentially non-functional. If you are calling your representatives, expecting them to do their job of representing you in government, yeah, good luck, especially if they're Republicans, right? Republicans in the House and the Senate have no intention of representing you. They have no intention of upholding their oath to the Constitution. Yeah, they are just literally in Donald Trump's pocket, right? He's got them there and he just squeezes them whenever he wants them to do something, right? He just kind of crunches his pocket a little bit, or he just threatens to, and they'll do whatever he wants. They are completely under his control. In fact, a couple of days ago, he was bragging about how Republicans in Congress will do whatever he wants. And I, for one, I do not understand this because there's an awful lot of massive, massive egos amongst the Republicans in the House and especially in the Senate. And they're all pretty fucking power hungry. So I don't really understand why it is that they've freely handed over so much of their power to Donald Trump. And I know Heather Cox Richardson said she really expected Republicans in the Senate to be the force that were kind of checking Trump. And I never thought that was going to happen. But I didn't expect them all to roll over so quickly, or I guess not to roll over, but to prostrate themselves and lick Donald Trump's boots. Like quite so easily. It happened so easily, right? I didn't really think that they would capitulate that quickly simply because they all like their power, right? And they don't want to let go of it. So something else is going on there. So I understand what this law professor was saying, right? And I don't disagree with her in that respect, that we shouldn't expect people to just ring their congressman and think that this is going to be, in any way effective, as if we had a functioning democracy. But I still think that there is utility in calling your representatives. I actually think we should be encouraging people, especially right now in this moment, if they have a Democratic senator, you need to be on the horn every fucking day. Because we know that so many Democrats don't really have that much of an intention of representing their constituents either, right? They want to represent their corporate interest, but they also really care about their seats. And I do not think at this moment, right now, during the government shutdown, it is a waste to call your senators. I think you should be calling them because they currently are holding the line for our healthcare, right? And not just our healthcare. That's really important. We are looking at 14 million Americans who are going to lose their Medicaid coverage. We're looking at millions and millions more Americans who are going to lose their Affordable Care Act subsidies. We're going to look at skyrocketing healthcare premiums, hundreds of hospitals closing around the country. But it's also the rescissions package, because right now, Republicans have let Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, and Russell Vogt basically treat our budget as like a giant slush fund where they can do whatever they want with it, that they can just overrule the will of Congress. So Republicans right now are saying we're going to appropriate money different places, but we're not going to be mad if Donald Trump cancels that appropriation or he moves that money somewhere else. So Democrats have no incentive to sign on to any plan where they're like, sure, we'll accept a compromise and we all agree we're going to vote for this thing, because Donald Trump can just undo it. He can just cancel all kinds of shit with the rescission power that Republicans have given him. So not only are they holding the line for our healthcare right now, also to make sure that we have any measure of representative democracy where Congress still controls the power of the purse. Those are crucially important. And we are watching every senator, 10 votes that we've had so far. Every senator except 3 from the Democrats has held strong. Okay, I'm trying not to swear quite as much. So Democrats decided to hold the line for our healthcare and not rescue Republicans from the consequences of their actions, right? Republicans have failed to fund the government, and Democrats are not bailing them out of that. Instead, Democrats are holding strong, except for Senator Cortez Masto. Oh, guess who else? Senator Fetterman, and then also independent Angus King of Maine, who caucuses with the Democrats. If you're from Nevada or Pennsylvania or Maine, you might want to let those 3 those 3 little bitches, let them know what you think. But all the other Democrats are holding strong, and that's because we are telling them that they have to hold strong. We are giving them pushback. Ahead of this decision, they listen to public pressure from their constituents, and they also are continuing to listen to public pressure. Now, Ezra from Indivisible says that Democrats are incredibly skittish. You can hand them a winning strategy and then they'll have control. They'll have control of the puck, and they'll be like, should we just like hand this off to the other team? And we've got to tell them, no, you fucking hold that puck. So we need to be calling. We need to keep holding Democrats' feet to the fire and say, don't you chicken out now. Do not chicken out now. There was some reporting and rumors earlier today that Jeanne Shaheen, who is a Democrat from New Hampshire, was maybe waffling a little bit or trying to get other Democrats to sign on to a 1-year Affordable Care Act extension. And then we'll see what happens after that. No, nuh-uh. Y'all hold the line. You hold the line for our health care. There was a congressional report that came out before the big, nasty, bloated bill got signed that said if Republicans were successful in gutting Medicaid and cutting Affordable Care Act subsidies, that 51,000 Americans would die every year as a direct result from that choice. That number was not communicated well to the American people. We already knew that these cuts to Medicaid were incredibly unpopular. Democrats' messaging was not good, though, around it. Why were we not shouting from the rooftops? Republicans want to kill 51,000 Americans a year to give billionaires a tax cut, because that's the reality of what they're doing. So no, Jeanne Shaheen. No, we're not compromising. We're not compromising with them. The Democratic plan to hold the line, to hold out for our health care and the lives of 51,000 Americans every year, right? This is not just a moral strategy. It's a winning strategy. Americans overwhelmingly want their ADA subsidies maintained. They want Medicaid to be restored. They do not want hundreds of hospitals and many more clinics around the country to close. 57% of MAGA want affordable health care subsidies to stay in place. Not 57% of Americans, not 57% of Republicans, 57% of MAGA do not want the Republicans' cuts to go through. Republicans are losing. The White House is losing massively over this shutdown. This is backfiring on them big time. And yet Mike Johnson will do whatever Daddy Donald wants, because the minute Congress reconvenes, he has to swear in Adelita Grijalva. And then, they have 218 votes to get the Epstein files. And so they're going to drag this shutdown on as long as they possibly can. It's foolish of them. It's foolish of them, because the longer this goes on, the more the American people blame Republicans. And the more it becomes glaringly transparent that Trump is not a sophisticated ruler. Mike Johnson and the Republicans are desperate to suppress the Epstein files being released. Right, Republicans are making it very clear they would rather shut down the United States government than release information that would get justice for the Epstein victims. They're crafting that narrative all on their, that's an unforced error on the part of Republicans. Democrats don't have to do nothing but sit back and watch them mangle that badly. So this is a winning move for Democrats, but unfortunately, we still have to give them feedback. I'm sure there are Republicans who are calling and yelling at them, even though most Republicans are in support of having health care restored, protected, and most Americans are opposed to what Republicans are doing. But our Democratic electeds, they need to hear from us every day. Keep it up. Hold strong. Hold the line. Don't you dare compromise. Don't you dare give in to Jeanne Shaheen. Don't you dare back out now. If you buckle now, if you get skittish and you balk now, we will primary every last one of you motherfuckers. This is your last chance to earn any trust from the Democratic base. This is your last chance to restore any trust in the electorate. So you better fucking understand the assignment and you better carry through. You can be a lot nicer than I am, actually. If you have somebody like my senators, Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley, who are vigorously defending healthcare, then you call and say something like, thank you so much. Please keep it up. You're doing the right thing. More of this, please. If you have Cortez Masto or John Fetterman or Angus King, you better call and give them an earful. So I understand what that creator was saying. We don't need to waste all of our time calling elected officials. I don't think it's pointless. I don't think it's pointless to keep calling them. The government is semi-non-functional. There are ways that it is important that we make our voice heard, because at the end of the day, it is still the people who have the power. We still have power over Congress. We still have power over this entire nation if we come together and we aggregate and exercise that power as one. So a flood of calls from constituents, yeah, you bet that will still have an influence, especially if you have a Democratic senator who is waffling right now.